Hello, everyone. This is my position presentation, a requirement for my GE portfolio here at Fresno State. I'm currently enrolled and taking CM 124 with Professor Banks. My name is Ricardo Guerrero Lopez, and today I'll be presenting on the topic of project labor agreements in jail projects. As someone passionate about fair labor practices and efficient project management, I've conducted an extensive research on this subject. The topic for today, or for this presentation, is today we'll explore the influence of social, political, cultural, and economic factors on the debate surrounding the requirement of project labor agreements for jail construction projects, quote unquote, for taxpayer projects. Excuse me. As we know, POASs, while intend to standardize labor practices, may not always be the most effective, equitable solution for every project. Now, my stance of point, or where I stand on this topic, I'm in favor of the argument that jail projects should not be required to use project labor agreements. But let's delve in why. As we know, again, POAS can impose unnecessary cost, limit competition, and perpetuate social inequalities, making them less than ideal for certain construction projects, especially those funded by the taxpayer dollars. So in other words, projects that are funded by taxpayers may have all this inequalities, all this costing more, no competition, all this not good stuff. Now, to delve into, like we stated, the social, political, and cultural aspects of this statement or topic, let's first start off by the social aspect of or the social impact of why or how does this topic or how does including labor agreements into jail projects affect socially, or what impact does this delve into social stance or point. So number one, the economic impact of project labor agreements in jail projects for this topic. Now, I found this resource by Beacon Hill Institute, a very well-known institute, and I've done a research and read many articles, and there was a study where this study conducted by Beacon Hill Institute found that POASs tend to increase project costs by 18%. By mandating union labor and imposing certain work conditions, POASs can inflate expenses for taxpayers and hinder cost-effective project management practices. Additionally, they may restrict competition among contractors, leading to their higher bids and reduced efficiency. So by restriction competition amongst other contractors for the project, leading to the higher bids and reduced efficiency. So that won't be a good thing at all. Now, for number two, social equity and project labor agreements. So where does the stance of social equity stand with the project labor agreements? Now, a journal by Harvard Journal of Law and Public Policy, an article published by Harvard by Professor David Schwerning, examines how mandate PLAs may exclude non-union workers, thereby promoting social inequalities, while PLAs aim to ensure fair wages and benefits for workers. They may inadvertently discriminate against non-unionized laborers. So they take advantage of those workers that are not unionized. limiting jobs, opportunities, and widening the gap between union and non-union workers. So they are taking advantages of those who are not in a union, and they they put them down. They limit their jobs opportunities, and they increase the gap between the non-union workers and the union workers. Unfortunately, that affects socially when it comes to standards amongst people. When you get asked, are you from a union? Are you not from a union? And now we know that if we're not from a union, unfortunately, the project labor agreements really do not benefit us that much. Now to our third point, which is cultural. The cultural impact of project labor agreements. Now, the research paper authored by Dr. Sarah M. Strauss and Dr. Brian L. Foster explores how cultural values influence the acceptance or resistance to PLASs in different communities. Cultural attitude toward unions, collective bargaining, and labor relations can significantly impact the implementation and effectiveness of PLASs. Understanding these cultural dynamics is crucial for evaluating the feasibility and acceptance of PLASs in diverse contexts, according to CAG and journals. Now let's take in context of what did Dr. Sarah and Dr. Brian talked about. Now, as stated in this paragraph, they dig into how cultural benefit beliefs affect whether communities are cool with or push back against PLASs. Of course, emotions, feelings, they're the number one most concerning things amongst workers when it comes to companies. How people feel about stuff like unions, bargaining together, and how work relationships should roll can really shape how well PLAs work out. Getting a grip on these cultural vibes is key to figuring out PLASs will fly in different places. Now, in conclusion, the evidence from economic, social, and cultural perspectives suggests that requiring PLASs for jail projects may not be the most beneficial approach. While PLASs aim to standardize labor practices and ensure fair treatment for workers, their implementation can have unintended consequences, including increased cost, as stated before, limited competition, and social inequalities. By considering these factors, policymakers and project stakeholders can make more informed decisions regarding labor agreements and construction projects, especially jail projects, where most of the workers aren't in a union and they don't get all these benefits that people in a union do, and the labor agreements don't help at all. They don't benefit them. And this is why I don't stand for labor agreements to be involved in jail projects or taxpayer government funded projects. I appreciate your time. Thank you for your attention. My next page for references from Beacon Hill of the economic stance viewpoint, journals.law of Harvard for social equality, and the journals Sage Pub for cultural impact of labor agreements into projects. Thank you once again, and hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.